Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and click the subscribe button. And if you're a new subscriber, welcome. And thank you for all my old studies for returning. So today I want to do something a little bit different, a little bit fun, a little bit interesting. I feel like I've been bombarding you guys with a whole lot of information that's serious, and I've been serious in all my videos. So I wanted to do something a little bit fun, which is going to be a story time. So I'm going to be telling you guys about this one time where I literally almost burned down the lab. So I know you guys, when you think of scientists, you think of these mad people with the mad hair and stuff like that who are exploding things in the lab and stuff. And I promise you what I do is not like that at all. But there was this one time where I literally almost burned down the lab, and it wasn't even my own lab. Like at home I was visiting a lab. So can you imagine? Like, I literally saw my life flash behind my eye, before my eyes. So if you're interested in hearing my story, stay tuned. Okay guys, so as I said, today is a story time. So I'm going to be telling you guys of this one time when I literally almost burned down the lab. Yeah. Woo! I couldn't believe it either. I couldn't believe it myself that I literally almost burned down the lab that I was visiting. So I was in San Francisco on a 4-month research visit. So usually what a research visit is that you go to visit a lab where you have collaborators, or where you have people that are doing work that you're interested in, whether it's for a skills transfer, which it was in my case. So I went there to learn skills, which I'm going to transfer back into my lab, whether it's for publication purposes, if that lab has a specialized something or a specialized technique that they do that you want to add to your project or to your story for publication purposes. Usually that's what a research visit is. It encourages cross-pollination and collaborations with people in institutions overseas, whether it's in Europe or the USA. So I was in the USA. I was in California, in San Francisco, for 4 months, where I was visiting a lab there. So the lab that I visited, they specialize in HIV transcription. So if you remember in the video where I was telling you guys my role in HIV research, I am particularly focusing on a gene called TAT, which is the trans activator of transcription, and it plays a major role in HIV replication and transcription. So I went to this lab in San Francisco to visit them. They are our collaborators, and they specialize in HIV transcription. I went to learn specialized techniques. I won't bore you guys with those details because this is supposed to be a funny like story time video. So I was basically going to learn those techniques. So usually when you visit a lab, the people that received me there were very friendly and showed me around the lab, showed me where different things are. And when you're in a lab setting, you use a lot of apparatus, you use a lot of reagents. So there's a lot of different things that you need to know, where certain things stay, the fridges, where you can store your stuff when you're done and stuff. So yeah, there I was in San Francisco visiting a lab. I was alone. This was probably one of the first times where I was truly alone. So I went there representing my lab here in KZN, and I went to San Francisco. So basically my story goes, I had been in the lab. I had been there for about 2.5 months ish. So I was used to where everything was. I was used to the way the lab worked. I was used to everything. I was basically a member of the lab. So I was now working, as opposed to in the beginning when I was being trained, and I was working closely with the postdoc as well as the lab manager there, who gave me like the basic kind of training, and then my postdoc who gave me the specialized kind of training, the training that I was actually there for. So yeah, she had trained me enough, that everyone had trained me enough. Everyone was confident that I could work alone, and I could work alone, and I can work alone. What really happened can happen to anyone. It just happened to me then, and I have never before set anything on fire. I promise. I've not burned down a lab before. So basically what happened is I was doing an experiment on my own. Like I said, it was 2.5 months in. I was comfortable with everything, and so I was using a Bunsen burner. So the Bunsen burner is attached to gas, and you open the gas and you use an instrument to ignite the flame. Usually you do this when you're doing any kind of bacterial work, if you're going to plate something on agar plates. So you are creating a sterile zone. So the warm air around the fire is creating that sterile zone. So what we usually use to spread what we want to plate for our bacteria to grow are little instruments which look like hockey sticks. So it actually looks like a straw, but it's bent here. So it's little hockey sticks that we use while I'm here. So we use hockey sticks to the culture that we pour in. We use it to spread it around the plate. So usually in our lab we have disposable hockey sticks or inoculating loops. People also use inoculating loops. I used to use inoculating loops when I was still a microbiology honors student. That looks like a straight thing that has a little circle at the top, and it's a metal thing, and you literally sterilize it by putting it in the fire, letting it cool a bit, and then taking your culture and then using that to plate on the agar plate. But in this case I was using hockey sticks. They were homemade hockey sticks. So what we took, a glass pipette which was already straight like this, and we just put it in the flame, so it burns like one area here until it bends over and becomes a hockey stick. So that's what we were using in the lab that I was visiting. So these hockey sticks, I mean, they can usually stay in ethanol to keep them sterile, and then you use them like that and then flame them and put them back. So I was using hockey sticks. They were not in ethanol, so I was flaming my hockey stick to sterilize it, of course. So you do this literally by putting your hockey stick directly into the flame. Remember the flame that I was talking about that's in the coming from the Bunsen burner. And clever Zagiti, as I must have been really busy or absent-minded that day, I flamed my hockey stick and I had down a linen saver. So this is what we usually put down on the bench to make sure that if anything like falls on it or anything, we can just wrap that up and throw it away. So I flame a hockey stick and I put it directly, so without cooling it, I put it directly on the linen saver. You can imagine now this glass thing has been in the fire, and I take it and I directly put it on something that's like tissue paper, literally. Did a fire not ignite? The fire ignited, guys. It was a fire. Can you imagine? I'm visiting here, like I am a visitor. I literally saw flames, literally, in the most literal sense. I could not believe it. I was not expecting it. So what happened was, as I put it on the linen saver, everything ignited. And so the lab that I was visiting, it's a bench format. So you have the bench, which is like long where 2 or 3 people can work, and then lower down from the bench is like the sitting spaces, which is different to the lab setup that I have here, where we work in the lab and we sit in offices. So here you work and sit like in the same place. So another postdoc was sitting on this side of the bench. Her name was Daniela, and she was sitting there just minding her own business, doing whatever she was doing, and she was there when this happened. So as I was saying, the thing, it ignited, guys. It was flames. It was in flames. And I know they always say don't panic, stop, drop and roll and all of that, but literally I panicked. But I also don't like outwardly panic. Inside I was just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I didn't know where the fire extinguisher was. I was visiting the lab. This is something that I should have been shown probably, which was a little bit of an oversight from the person that was training me. I need to be shown where the fire extinguisher is, make sure that I know how to use it. I didn't know where the fire, guys, it was a fire. Like, it was a fire. It wasn't just I put it on and it started smoking. It was flames. So now first thing I think, obviously being me and being a human, is stomp it out, because it's on tissue paper, the tissue, as it's igniting, it's like going up, right, and falling to the ground. So as the flames are going, I can see Daniela in the corner of my eye, but she's not doing anything. So she really was not paying attention to what I'm doing. I mean, you can see bright orange flames, but she's still not looking at me. So I'm trying to put out the fire, and then I say Daniela. And so as I say that, I'm literally stomping. So now, like I said, the tissues have risen and fallen to the ground, and I'm stomping it out with my shoe. My poor shoe, it died in that fire. But anyway, stomping out the fire, and then I say Daniela because I was thinking that it was going to get out of hand and I need help now. Anyway, I put out the fire. Daniela then looks up and she's like, oh shit. But as she looks up, I was literally stomping out the last of it. And of course, you can imagine what happens after a fire. A lot of smoke and a lot of fire smell. So the new girl set the lab on fire. The new girl is me. And yeah, so so after the fire happened, I mean, it was smoky, it was smelly, and people came into the lab and they were like, oh my gosh, what's that smell? And it was all fire and it was all out, and my shoe died in that process. So yeah, that's my little story time of how I almost set a lab that I was visiting on fire, guys. Visiting. Yeah, I mean, as a scientist and other scientists watching, or researchers watching, or people that work in the lab, or people that work in a lab, know that accidents happen. But what's super important, that you are adequately trained to do certain things. Whenever you're in the lab, do not use apparatus or machinery that you do not know how to use. There are high chances that you can break it, that you can injure yourself also in the process. So always make sure that you are 100% trained to do anything that you need to do that involves fire and that involves using machinery or apparatus that you're not familiar with. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I wanted to do something a little bit different. If you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and let me know about your lab experiences down in the comment. Let me know about anything crazy that's happened to you in the lab before, or in any lab setting. How many labs have you set on fire? Let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys on the next video.